Hello world, this is Zan playing Middle Age Pelagia in a very old Disciples game that I was a part of called Rochambeau. And I wasn't planning on really making this a series because I was a bit salty at, and most of my Disciples games, I end up salty at the actions of my teammates. But in this one in particular, I think we should have rolled over the person of our first war because they had a coastal Satis, and my teammates were Oceania and Relay, to which I said, go cap Satis immediately, but be aware they're going to cast Foul Vapors on you. And both my teammates went in, and neither of them cast or had any means of poison resistance, and they promptly lost their entire armies. So I was a bit salty throughout the game. But this turn in particular, I did want to bring up because it had a pretty good set of battles on my end as I fought Satis's allies, Satis's allies Pan and Man. Um, and we were also talking about in the Discord about high death liches with possibly, some air magic for magic phase as a disciple. And, I decided to finally get off my bum and go find this video or go find this turn and record it. So here we are. We have Grippa the Eternal, ruler of Pelagia, the most important follower of Oceania. He's empowering himself in air for reasons. I honestly can't remember anything that happened in this game, I'll be honest. And there's a bunch of battles, but I've already checked, and these are all, tiny raids against PD or maybe me poking someone to see what's in there. But the real big ones here are the two battles at Lys. So this is the first battle where we have Pangea attacking into me. He has a line of Centaur warriors and cataphracts to kind of shield his white centaur behind, some maenads in the front, some harpies to do things. I'm not sure if he has his prophet here, because he might not bless everything. Cool. And then while we're here, we'll have Grippa the Eternal, the Master Lich. Apparently I went Death and Blood as Pelagia, and I should have really gone Death and Air, if I'm honest with you. Because Death and Air is going to get me Winds of Death, Wailing Winds, Magic Phase movement. And you see I'm already empowering into air right now to get all of that. So I think this is probably the first game. I've done Disciple Lich before, and this is the first game, I think, where I did it. And I realized how dumb I was for not going into air magic at the Pretender screen. I wanted to break into Blood, and by the end of this game, I was a Blood Pelagia. Don't worry about that. There were vampires flying about. But that's neither here nor there. And the equipment he has is just things I've gotten through random events, the key one being these Ranger Boots for the extra reinvigoration. Regardless, let's go check out my army. I have the bumped up Province Defense, which is a bunch of net-wielding Mermen and Lizard Warriors, and just a blob of Wave Warriors here in the back to try and protect our mages, which are these pretty buff looking Triton Kings. They all have their Shambler Skin armor. And then our Pelagian Mystics, which are going to cast. Honestly, I can't remember how these fights went. I mean, I know the end result, but I can't remember what I was casting, what I did. So let's see. We have... Okay, so the first fight, we're going to have Foul Vapors get cast. Looks like Legions of Steel. Yes, looking at this guy's armor, Legions of Steel. Some Water Elemental. Foul Vapors hitting my own units despite me dropping poison resistance on them. Yeah, a lot more Legions of Steel. That looks like protection or something. No, poison wards. A bunch of Water Elementals, of course. And we have some Freezing Mists being cast over in the back. And let's check out the Pangean Bless. Well, looks like some of them didn't get blessed. This is a pretty terrible bless. Decay weapons is quite useless, but they do have poison resistance. And that's unfortunate because I am casting Foul Vapors on myself, and my Wave Warriors are unfortunately not all covered by the poison wards. Neither are they resistant to these clouds or this very poorly aimed Shadow Blast. Now that is not a poorly aimed Shadow Blast, nor is that a poorly aimed Blade Wind. Actually, let me pause the video real quick. I'm realizing right now, sound's not coming through. Alright, there we go, guys. Sorry about that. Alright, so most of the Wave Warriors have routed and or gotten killed, which is unfortunate because they do have pretty good morale. But they've done their job, which is eat the lances of much superior troops in the Centaur Cataphracts and the White Centaur. And they formed a wall for the Trident Kings to get their work done, which is Falling Frost, Freezing Mists, even the Lich casting the Shadow Blasts. And now here we have the second wave of our units, which are just the waves of undead. And very quickly, this fight turns into a rout where the army of Pan dies, and most of my army is fairly crippled. I've only got mages at this point. But the Butcher's Ledger, we're going to come to it where they lose everything. And this is bad for them. Like, Centaur Warriors are amazing units, but people forget how expensive they can be. I don't want to do the math. I mean, or someone can add it to comments, or I can edit it in later to the text, because I still don't know how to edit videos, but 66 White Centaur, 38 Centaur Warriors, and 23 Cataphracts is a significant number. This is at least 3,500 gold, right? No? Half that? Math is hard. I'll do that later. On my end, I'm going to lose a Pearl Mage and a Mystic. And that sucks. Wait, not you. Pearl Mages, they're rather expensive to recruit, but they're quick to recruit. Mystics are very cheap for what you get, but they're slow to recruit, which is horrible. If they weren't slow to recruit, Pelagio would be such a different nation. I lose 9 Sacreds. Some, auxiliary PD I've been picking up, and almost all of my Wave Warriors. So that's 13 gold a pop, because they are technically an elite unit, quote unquote. They just hit really hard. It's kind of nice. And of course, the whole PD routes. But overall, if this was the only battle that took place this turn, this was a resounding victory for me. I lost all of my Wave Warriors, but he lost so much more. So much more. It's insane. And if that was the only victory this turn, I think we'd be happy. However, it wasn't. We have another battle, Endless, where the other disciple, Man, comes in and attacks me now on the same turn. He has his Sacreds, Foresters, these Landless Knights, a line of Avalonian mages, whatever they are, his Pretender God, a Crone, a line of cavalry, and these, I'm not going to try, these green dogs. Not even going to try that. And again, the PD is going to refresh, thankfully, but that's all I have. That's all I have. So let's see, my script's already going to be there, except now I don't have gems. Let's see what he casts. I'm really thankful here. If he had cast, if he had gone for air elementals, I'd be dead. Okay, we have some cold bolts coming in and doing nothing. Okay, there's his big blessings. Okay. Here. And here we just have Skellingtons coming in. I'm not sure what was cast over here. Failed to resist something that looks black and bad. And Natural Rain. I'm not sure what that's going to help with against me, but maybe that's just... No, because Storm would save Storm, I think. I don't play Air Nations often. So whatever I had sent to the front there, they're all dead. That's the PD. The second wave coming in are now my Champion of the Closed Realms, my Sacreds. It's a minor bless. It's not meant to take people out, but they are good in that they're really tanky. They have some plate armor and that reinvigoration. And down here you see that their entire cow flank has just been completely stopped by Grip of the Eternal, who's just Everyone that dies gets to come back. Meanwhile, the army of man is slowly trudging forward. And my Trident Kings are free to cast Falling Frost. And otherwise, you know, often ignored spell because no one ever takes cold resistance or cares about it. And these are, in theory, these are the kind of units that you'd expect wouldn't care about Falling Frost because, they have armor. It's doing fine to me, in my eyes. Yeah, it's not clearing a square every round, but this freezing effect is quite good. It's quite good. Whoa, sorry about that. And all of these evocations that could be potentially deadly to my actual mages or units if I had any remaining, aimed at the skeletons. And these guys are all probably asleep from sleep clouds, but their armor is so high that these broadswords have trouble doing anything. Not to mention they're getting earth gripped. They're gonna have this high fatigue from the cold. Okay, it looks like the wardens are coming in now. Could have sworn the lizards were on my team, but more earth melds coming in. Because, I do often set my mages on advance and cast. It's better than having them sitting in the back doing nothing. And once more, the only front line I'm getting is from this crazy lich. Just raise dead. And then their whole line is being slowed down due to the earth melds, due to the cold, while these guys just point blank Falling Frost. Just absolutely tear people apart. Now, do I wish that maybe my Lich was on Advance and Cast? That would have been great, but he's been... Look at this, he's cast all of these skeletons, and he's still only at 54 fatigue. I have no front line, I just have mages and whatever this guy has managed to conjure. And I'm assuming this works off like the corpses in the province. I don't know if this counts like previous battles, like if these would be the corpses of the wave warriors that died in the previous battle on the Centaur. But a lot of people have already died here. The PD, his army. But yeah, this is the power of just one high death mage giving two. Those earth melts are pretty clutch. Giving a few advance and cast mages the cover that they need to get their stuff done. So what can one high death mage do with all of this? Just one. He hasn't stopped. He's still at 52 fatigue. This is just a constant stream of stuff that one mage is going to be able to output on his own and give infinite cover, near infinite cover really, to these units. Now, what man's killing power was kind of low, and it was made worse by the earth melds and the falling frosts. And again, just to explain again, the falling frost, that cold effect increases your fatigue, which reduces your stats, reduces your attack and defense. And then there's going to be no worry of friendly fire because these guys are cold resistant. They have good HP and cold resistant, and if they block, I mean, that's kind of sad, but if your unit's high fatigue, they might block it. Yeah. So let's look at the ledger for this one. And we have now an attack by man where, his Thunderstrike Evocation Communion does a lot of work. It really tears things up. The problem is most of the things they teared up were either PD or just skeletons. So on their end, they also lose, what is that, 2/3 of their army. 2/3 of their army, nothing too important. Like all of their mages got out. 20 Sacreds isn't substantial, but 41 Landless Knights. I guess they cost as much as my Wave Warriors do. They're pretty cheap. Wow. It's a not bad unit. So they lose a lot less than Pangea does. A lot less, but like gold-wise. But it's also substantial loss, especially since I just finished beating up Pangea. This was the same turn, back to back. And I know the Trident Kings did absolute work here with the Falling Frosts and the Mystics with their Blade Winds, but I think the key part of both of these battles was just the cover that the Lich provided. In the first battle with those Shadow Blasts onto the Centaurs, being able to just wipe out entire lines of them or paralyze them. And then here in the second battle, just providing an unending wall of bodies to cover for these Trident Kings. And then, getting the PD both ways helps significantly, and using up a lot of the fatigue from the Mages of Man, probably bumping them out of their chorus communions, and lowering their magic power overall. But then also giving me warm bodies that Grip of the Eternal can resurrect. And there's some battle over here, some events. None of that's really important. And then now to just give you the overview of what the map looks like. This was our really weird lake, and this was a Satis that was meant to die super early. But like I said, despite me telling my teammates, hey, all Satis is going to do to you is foul vapors and summon skeletons. So just bring poison resistance and you'll kill him. If you don't bring poison resistance, your entire army, like this one, will die. So you should probably bring poison. And yeah, they didn't listen to me. They didn't listen to me at all, so they got killed. Meanwhile, I'm stuck over here fighting both of these nations with everything I've got. And it was just a very salty game overall for me, just because Satis should have been a free capital. I think Pangea was coastal as well. Pangea should have been a free capital, but these guys, my disciples, were blundering so much that it just dragged me down and made it wasn't fun for me. It really wasn't. And it's one of the reasons I'm trying to avoid disciple games, but they just keep happening. But I really try because stuff like that bothers me. Um, like I'm sitting here as Pelagia fighting two land nations, beating them, and expecting that my team can handle a coastal Satis. That's just the capital, and that doesn't happen. So yeah, it's a fun short. I mean, short. This is a 20 minutes video. I want it to be shorter, but whatever. A fun little video today that another Disciples game I've ended up being dragged into has inspired me to create. So I hope you enjoyed the content of these two battles on the same turn as Pelagia. And yeah, see you guys next time.